What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Whatnauts Reactor Core number 30. My name is Kyle Springer, and I am joined by Gino Viteri.
What's up, everybody? Welcome, welcome, welcome.
And Nikki, you know what? I should have asked you how to pronounce your last name before we started, but here we are. How do you pronounce your last name?
It is Nicole Alvarado.
There we go. Cool. I do have these social stuff all popping up there, so it's all spelled right and stuff. But there you go. Nicole Alvarado. Cool. Sweet. Welcome, Nicole. You've this is your first time here on one of our shows. However, you have been here on Whatnauts Wednesdays. You were playing some video games with us.
I was. Yes.
You helped me get my first win in Fortnite.
Yes, but you did all the work though. It was all you.
Oh no, not at all. I'm so bad at that game.
You were gonna get your win though, and we did. So I was happy about that.
Yeah, we did. Well, welcome to the show. We are happy to have you. This week we are discussing Invincible. We're gonna do a spoiler cast. We did not get to do week by week stuff, but here we are at the end. The show has wrapped up. We are going to be talking about it in depth and spoiler filled. Let me ask you guys this though. What is your how did you guys hear about the show? Were you aware of the comics? Have you read them? Have you checked them out now? What's your kind of relationship with that? Nikki, we'll start with you.
Well, I'm a movie person and a TV show person, so I'm always on the fire stick. And Amazon always, advertising. And I saw that. I was like, all right, I'll click on it. So I did, and I enjoyed it. So episode 1 got me to enjoy it a lot.
Nice. Good stuff.
Marketing,
Gino.
so that's what got me.
Yeah, I knew of Robert Kirkman already from The Walking Dead.
For sure.
And I actually didn't know that The Walking Dead was a comic before I started watching the show. And then, getting into all the pop culture and all that stuff, I found out that was a comic. And then he wrote other things. Invincible was something that was mentioned, but I didn't know that he was the one that wrote it. Yeah. So then I just started connecting the dots with him, and then with the show, and then with the comics, and then just everything happened, and I knew about Invincible.
All makes sense now.
And then I'm not really an avid reader of anything. So when I found out the show was coming, I had heard the comics were amazing. So I was like, fine, I'll check out the show then, so I don't have to read. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll just watch this. And that's what I did.
There you go. I've known about this book for a while because I'm a huge comic book fan, as you guys can see. I have a whole bunch right back there. I have like 20-something volumes of The Walking Dead. Not my favorite book, but I got a bunch one time for Christmas, and I was just like, well, I guess I'll keep reading it. And then I was like, this book is never going to end, is it? So I was like, I need to stop.
It hasn't ended yet, right?
It has.
I don't know.
It ended already? The book?
the comic has. Yeah. The show is
it's on its last season, I think. Coming up.
It is the last season coming up, yeah.
And then I think we're going to get the movies.
They've spun off multiple stuff.
There's
there is a
Fear the Walking Dead.
Fear the Walking Dead, which I like.
And then they have the one with the little kids that are growing up in the world with zombies already established. So
World of Walking Dead, I believe.
Yeah,
I should know that name because my roommate's boyfriend works on the show.
I just know about all of them because of my mom. My mom's a freak with zombies. She loves them. So I let go of The Walking Dead a long time ago, but I know exactly who's been dying.
Oh yeah,
in the show just by walking to the kitchen. I'm like, oh, okay, well, so long to that person. Yeah,
there you go.
Absolutely. So the Invincible comics were written by Robert Kirkman, and the first handful of issues, the art was done by Cory Walker, but the majority of the series, the artwork was done by Ryan Ottley, who is currently drawing Spider-Man for Marvel. But yeah, they've been working on this TV show for a while. and I'm stoked that it exists. I kind of forgot about it for a while, and then when they started to be like, "It's out next month," I was just like, "Hell yeah, this is great!" I'm so excited. So I've read a good chunk of the comics. I have not read them all, so I still don't know how this all wraps up. But
are you past the first season?
Yes. Yeah.
You are.
I think where we ended up at the end of season 1 is like maybe the first like 3 volumes. I don't. How does it say how many here? I'm on the Wikipedia page.
I hear it gets crazy. That's what people say that read the comics. Like, it's crazy.
It's already crazy now.
It does, yeah.
Yeah. But I'm like, it's already crazy. Imagine, like, oof. Can't wait.
Okay, so don't really know off the top of my head how many volumes there are of this book, but let's start talking about the show. What did you guys think? What were your like general thoughts on the show? Did you like it? Did you not like it? What caught your attention?
I could go. I loved it. I loved it. I almost said liked, but I switched to loved in the middle of that. Cause as I don't know, I'm thinking about it more, and I think what shines, I mean, a lot of stuff shines about this show, but I like the fact that even though it's animated, there's still a bigger impact than most regular, TV shows that you're watching on Amazon Prime or wherever you're watching them on. And I mean, I don't think you can talk about the Invincible without comparing it to The Boys. And I don't know which one came first, because I know they're both comics. And they're very comparable to each other. But The Boys is freaking incredible, obviously, and just as gory as Invincible. But I feel like in some cases, the writing in Invincible is better than The Boys. The Boys seems a lot more casual in a way, but when I'm comparing the two of them, I think the writing shines in Invincible a lot more, because there is some things said in that show that we'll go into later that really like hurt you just as much as all the gory scenes. Like it's they punch you right in the freaking face. It's crazy. But I guess just general thoughts. I really enjoyed it. Your jaw drops at the end of the first episode, because I was not I knew it was a different kind of superhero show, but I didn't know it was going to get there, and I didn't know it was going to be that quick. So it surprised me every single episode, and it just kept doing it and doing it. And I enjoyed it. I did enjoy
doing it. Well, Nikki, what did you think?
Well, I liked it right in the beginning, because I don't know if you guys watched the Batman anime series that came out in 1992. Okay, I grew up watching those. Like, I would go home, go watch the Batman show, and then Scooby-Doo right afterwards. And I remember that from my childhood. But it reminded me of that cartoon, the Batman, like the whole animated stuff. So like that aspect has brought me back to that. And then the story, I love it. It's not about him liking a girl or anything. It's more about him with his powers and then finding himself. It's not like the occasional like boy meets girl and they fall in love and stuff like that. Like that is in there a little bit, but it's not the main focus, which I love. I also like that a lot of the Walking Dead actors and actresses are actually in the show.
That's true.
You have Sasha, you have Maggie, you have there's a lot more. I just can't think of their name. And then Steven Young. Oh my gosh, love it.
Young, I think is.
Yeah. So he's in there. I love that. That they're like little
all
Easter
of
eggs.
The what were their names? The like Justice League knockoffs in there were all Walking Dead. Actors.
Were they? I did not know that.
War Woman was Lauren Cohan.
Really?
I know that for sure.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I know that. I forget.
We met her once, remember?
Yeah, we did. Oh, we did. I forgot.
Awesome.
Yeah. Green Ghost was Sasha from Walking Dead. I can't think of the other ones, but yeah, there's like a little bit of everything in there. Yeah, that's cool. Loved it.
Good stuff. Yeah, I really enjoyed this. It's been a while since I've read the comic, so I I remembered like how it started and like what the major like this is the inciting like thing that happens, right? Like I remembered that, but kind of beyond where we got in the show, I don't really remember all that much, except like maybe one or two things. But yeah, I was surprised at how closely they followed the comics, and it just like it felt like. Yeah, like if you enjoyed the comics, this is exactly that, just translated into a show, and they did a wonderful job.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we've mentioned the show gets like hyper violent and gory, but it's not. There is some like gore porn in there, I guess you could say, but like that's not what the show is. It's not meant to be that. Like it's not meant to be violence for violence sake. There also is these like emotional beats and moments in there that just they make you sad or they give you hope, and you just you like I think at the end of the day with this show, I'm like I was just sitting there like, man, I cannot wait to find out what happens next. This is amazing. This is great. Because I think with the amount of violence that's in this show, it could really be like, ooh, this is a show that's dark and brooding and everything is bad, the world is terrible, all that stuff, but there is this like hopeful undertone to the whole thing there. So
because Mark is so
enjoyed it.
Mark Invincible, he's so innocent still, so you see his his hopefulness for the world and all that stuff, and you carry that as the audience. So
like there's so much hope in the beginning, and then like the ending just hits you in the face. You're like, oh my gosh, it turned so bad. I was like, I was not expecting that. I thought like maybe like he'll fight a enemy and something bad happens to him, but no, I was not expecting that at all.
For sure.
But the beginning of the first episode reminded me of the movie Sky High, when like I don't know if you guys saw that. When when like the parents, well, both parents have superpowers, but in this case one of them has them, and he's like trying to find his powers, and he's like, dang, I'm just a regular kid, and next thing you know, he's like doing stuff like a superhero. I remember that. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool.
For sure. Let's see, let's get into a quick I guess spoiler-free plot synopsis, and then we'll dive more into depth and kind of take this as it goes. So let's see. Yeah, the comics start out with Mark. Mark is a high school student. He just seems kind of like a normal kid. And it turns out that his father is a superhero. He is basically their Superman-like character named Omni-Man. And Mark knows that he's eventually going to get powers one day, but he has not gotten them yet, and he's starting to be just like, this sucks. Like, why can't I fly, or why can't I be super strong or something? And he is just starting to get his powers, and that's when the world around him kind of starts to change very fast. There are some things that happen that I think are quite shocking, and I think a lot of people don't expect. And there is one specific incident that basically ignites the whole thing and is the like central mystery for the first couple volumes, but then leads to where we end up here at the end of season 1 of this show. If you guys like superhero stories or comics, this is one to check out. But it definitely takes a turn that you probably are not expecting. I think, Nikki, you mentioned like Batman the animated series and stuff like that. If you're fans of that, this is a lot like that in style and in the way the show looks. And yeah, I would absolutely recommend checking this out. It's hard not to say much more than that, right? It starts out kind of like a Superman, Superboy story, but then it's absolutely not.
Yeah.
So, And now for a quick word from our sponsors, and our sponsors would be us here at The Whatnauts. If you guys did not know, we have multiple podcasts here at The Whatnauts. You guys can find out more information on our website, which is thewhatnauts.com, as well as your favorite podcasting platform of choice. Just type in The Whatnauts and all of our shows will pop up right there. If you like what we do, patreon.com/thewhatnauts is where you can support us for as little as $1 a month. We have a $3 section with all kinds of exclusive content. Be on the lookout for our next one. We are creating bingo cards for one of our other podcasts, which we are hoping to gamify a bit. So we're coming up with a bunch of movie and TV tropes and comic tropes to fill in those squares. And as we cover a bunch of movies and TV shows, we'll be playing bingo with those. I think it should be a lot of fun. And a big shout out to our Patreon supporters at the $5 tier and above. So thank you to Sam and thank you, Greg Miller. We appreciate it a lot. And it has been wonderful that you guys support us. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Last but not least, we do some live streams on Twitch at twitch.tv/thewhatnauts. We are usually there each Wednesday night, Friday night, and Sunday afternoon. So be on the lookout for all of that. You guys can subscribe to our channel there. But if you have Amazon Prime, you also have Twitch Prime. You just have to link your accounts, which is super simple, and then you get a free subscription to give out each month. We would love that to be us here at The Whatnauts, because that means we can make bigger and better content for you down the road. But that is about it for housekeeping and all that sponsor stuff. So let's get back to the show. All right. With that, let's get into a little bit of spoilers. Okay, I know you guys couldn't hear that on your end.
I heard a little bit of it.
So
I heard a little bit. That's all right.
But it happened, right?
Weird. I'm not sure why that it's not picking that up, but oh well. Yeah. So spoilers. Let's dive in with episode 1 here. So we kind of did the basic plot, which covers most of that, but this is where I think the show is fascinating, because it lulls you into this like sense of normalcy, right?
Oh, yeah,
it's like,
definitely.
I've seen this. This is just the Justice League. This is Batman, the animated series. And then the end of episode 1, things take a turn for the worst. It's Omni-Man. This is Mark's father, the Superman character. And he kills every member of their Justice League. I keep forgetting.
Guardians of the world, right? Or Guardians of the
Guardians of the Global.
Guardians
of the Globe. Yeah.
Globe. I was like global.
I thought they changed their name when they made the new ones, but it was just Guardians of the Globe then always, right? Because I thought they called themselves Guardians.
They were team. They were the Teen Titans.
The teenagers,
originally.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then
and there's the Guardians of the Globe, which Omni-Man killed at the end. So I watching the first episode, I obviously hadn't read the comics or anything, but I knew because this is Robert Kirkman, this is gonna be different. I don't know what it's gonna be, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
And then you see, I guess we could just start talking about that. I mean, that's the biggest part of the episode, right? Okay, so and you already mentioned the other stuff with Mark looking for his powers or waiting for his powers. But Omni-Man goes to, I guess, their base, the Guardians' base. And
he calls them there.
Yeah. But like it seemed like throughout the entire episode, he was never really, he helped them, but he didn't really care for working with them. That was the sort of the vibe that I got from him. But it still seemed like either way he's good and he's gonna help them when they need help. That's how I felt until the end there. And then at the end he gets to their base and it's so crazy because he I can't remember the scene explicitly, but he throws the first punch, of course, to one of them. I forget all their names already because they were just there for the first episode.
Yeah, but the fast dude, I don't know, the red guy.
Friction or something, I think. Right?
Yeah, he like ran to save the guy and you see slow-mo of Omni-Man going like this, and you're like, what?
That reminded me of that part where Superman comes from the grave.
I knew you were gonna say that.
And he fights everybody. Yeah,
I knew it because I was like this. Like, wait, this is just like when he goes like this. Like, looks
exactly.
To the side, and he's like, "Oh, you think I don't see you?" Yeah. I remember that.
So he throws the first punch, and then you hear like the freaking bones crunch and the blood and all that stuff, and then it's silent from there. It's just the fight. It's literally just bones cracking, him crushing them. And he's having a hard time too because they're obviously all teaming up on him. So they're messing him up. He's messing them up, but he just kills. What is it? Was it 7 of them or 6 of them? I think.
It's a lot. Yeah. It was a lot.
It was
the whole team.
My gosh, dude.
And then he like legit punched inside the, I forgot the girl, the green lady, the green ghost. Yeah. Punched right at her face and that was it. Like it was like an instant punch. Dude. And that guy, I was like, I was wincing. Like my eyes were like this. Like, oh my God. I wasn't ready for this in a cartoon.
It's not so even real shocking.
Stuff. Yeah. I was just like, oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean that is the thing. It looks like a kid's cartoon, right? That you mentioned. It looks like that, and the whole time you're just like, okay, I've seen this story. Like, this is fine. And then it happens. And it's just, it's so shocking. And it's like, they spare no expense with the violence on that stuff. Like, it is bloody. It is gory. This is like Mortal Kombat. Like, things are snapping off and it is ridiculous.
It also reminded me of Happy Tree Friends. You guys ever watch Happy Tree Friends?
I've never seen that.
You've never seen Happy Tree Friends, Nikki?
I've never heard of it. Never heard of it.
That was like a middle school thing, I think, right, Kyle?
Yeah.
Happy Tree Friends, where they would be bloody and the bones would stick out and like.
It's these really, really cute and adorable animals, but they just get into these situations where they have to it's like, all right, well, my leg is stuck. I guess I have to chop my leg off. And it's just bloody and screaming the whole time. And then he realizes that he chopped off the wrong leg. And so he has to do it again and get the next one. It's just like, no.
Oh my God.
They should bring that back. They should bring that back.
God. So bad.
Also, the way Omni-Man sliced that guy's neck, he's like,
oh yeah,
karate chops him.
What? I was like, holy crap!
The way he kills everyone so differently too. Like it's like it chops them in half, or he doesn't do laser. No, he doesn't. He's just super strength, right? No, super strength.
For the Nightwing guy, which is reminds me, he's played by voiced by Morgan from Walking Dead too. He got freaking just slapped around and his head just got squished by doing that.
God, dude.
It was crazy. I like have this whole scene in my head because I was just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. No. Nikki, what were you expecting? Like before this scene happened? Like what, did you know there was some kind of twist or thing like that coming? What were you...
I did know there's a twist because everybody was saying like, wow, the ending was like a page turner. I'm thinking like, oh, he gets hurt or he gets badly wounded. I don't know. His dad dies. I had no idea. I didn't think that was gonna happen. Of him going in there and killing all those guardians. It was a little much for me. I honestly was wincing. I'm like, this is worse than like some real shows out there, like real life
TV
shows. Yeah.
Yeah. I think for me it was interesting to see because I didn't know when they were gonna do it. In the comics, I think it doesn't really happen until the end of the first volume. So you're in like 2 or 3 issues, and it like, oh my gosh. And so I didn't know if that was gonna be the season 1 finale of like, oh shit, he just killed them all, like all of that stuff, or when, and it happened at the end of the first one here, and I loved it. It was wonderful. It was great.
That's crazy.
It's great. But that's the thing. He calls them all there. None of them expect it. Nolan, Omni-Man, his family doesn't know. No one knows who did this. He walks away scot-free, having just murdered 7 of them, and it's just like, what is this?
I think in the middle, doesn't he make it? Well, I mean, he stays there because he gets knocked out from that fight, and then they think that he was a part of whatever happened.
Only survivor.
Yeah. I don't. He didn't make it seem like that, right? It just happened. Well, if I remember correctly,
he got beat up pretty badly.
Pretty beat, but I'm sure it was still just like, all right, it's not as bad as it looks.
Yeah,
but
like they had like the initial like darkened skin, like that's where he got his punches in, like from the other people. Like I remember, I don't know the guy's name, the Martian dude, like the guy that can look like silly putty wraps around him, and then they just start punching him, but then he kills that guy.
That guy just rips him apart.
Yeah, he just goes like legit, like that's it. I'm like, okay, like this guy had no powers then.
yeah, it's crazy.
So I think by the end of episode 1, if not like the start of episode 2, we start to see Mark getting his powers. Yeah. There's that scene where he's taking out the trash at his job, and he's like, whoop, and it goes boom, and goes like flying up, and like he's starting to like try and fly, and he's almost getting there and stuff. But that's kind of where episode 2 starts, because we have Omni-Man in the hospital, in that like secret hospital in the Global Defense Agency. Mark is still at school. He's getting his powers, but he has to start stepping up because, the Guardians of the Globe have been knocked out, and there are these aliens that start invading, and they end up coming 2 or 3 times. But their whole deal is they are like time moves differently for them. So they age super fast, and so they don't get very far with their invasion. But they do start to make some enemies. They're like, Mark, whatever your name is, we've seen you before. We don't like you. But I think this is Mark's like first wake up call to like oh shit, it's not that you just got your powers, it's your queue in the line moved up a bunch. Like you are now one of the top dogs here on Earth, and you need to learn fast.
Because I think there was a point in one of those fights where he tries to save one person, and he doesn't. He sees the person die in his arms because of his mismanagement with it. So that particular part right there is what really was the wake up call for him. Where this is not going to be fun. This is going to be serious, and he definitely learned from that. With the second time they came, I think the third time they came too. Those were like the training exercises for him, pretty much.
Yeah, and honestly, it was the first time he actually was saving the world with other heroes. I think that's when he meets I forgot her name, Eve. I forgot her hero name.
Adam Eve.
Adam Eve, which I thought was a great name. I was like, okay,
yeah, that's cool.
Like that one. Yeah.
Yeah, she's like secretly one of the strongest in the
she's like extremely,
galaxy.
She can do a lot. I was like,
she can just rearrange matter however she sees fit.
Yep.
I think she's like Scarlet Witch.
House. I was gonna say that, but I didn't want to because I don't know if full her extent. Yeah. And she just made a house, and I was like, it's amazing.
I wish I could do that.
Yeah, it's like she'll make a door and then close it in front of her dad so it doesn't disturb her. I was like, oh my gosh, imagine that.
That's also something I don't understand though, because her parents are both normal, right? So how does one become I guess a superhero? It just happens, I'm assuming, because they don't ever go into that in the show. Don't. Like how people have their powers.
Yeah. because I don't know, or I don't remember if there is like you're a mutant kind of thing, if they have an X gene or not. But there's just people with powers out there. There's people who like fall asleep and can manifest a dragon and just do all sorts of strange stuff.
Yeah.
I think the green, was her name Green Ghost? I remember she took like a little green pill out of her pocket and she put it in her mouth, and then she changed into the hero.
Yeah.
So I don't think she's a hero. She has powers without that. So I don't know what it was because they didn't go into it, but I noticed that. I was like, oh, she needs that to be a hero.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He's on drugs. She's
yeah.
balls. So let's talk a little bit about like Mark and his friends and his relationships and stuff like that. Because he's in high school. He has a best friend who just seems like a normal guy. There's not much worth noting about him. It's like, oh, that's Steve down the road. I don't remember his actual name. But yeah. And then he ends up dating this girl named Amber. What did you guys think of Amber?
I don't like her.
You don't like her? Okay.
I don't like her. I don't like her. No.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about her yet. Like at first I liked her. Then I was kind of like, okay, I don't really remember her all that well from the comics, so she's probably not going to be anyone. And so I was like, all right, I guess I can kind of forget about her. But then what they end up doing with her, I guess we'll jump ahead a bit here. They break up because Mark is off doing superhero stuff, and he's not really managing his time all that well. He is a pretty bad boyfriend, but she's also not super understanding.
Yeah.
But then at the end, like after Mark gets in the big fight with his dad at the end, she like all of a sudden starts to understand and is like, let's get back together. And he's like, okay, let's do it.
That's the issue that I had.
I didn't like that either. Yeah.
So
it's a little bit strange.
The part where he fights the cyborg that comes down, he leaves obviously to become invincible and to fight cyborg.
Classic superhero stuff.
And then after that, when he comes back, she's very upset with him and saying, "Why did you leave us?" All that stuff. We could have died. You left us to die. And then I think it was the same day or the day after, he tells her, and she's like, "Oh, I've known for 2 weeks." And it's like, if you knew, why are you telling me that I left you to die? If I
good point.
If you knew, so that I don't know why she decided to be like that. But that's the part where I was like, all right, it's not that she doesn't know who he is. Now it's just she's just annoying.
She literally ruined the trip.
Yeah. The one way I can see that making sense is that, he is keeping secrets, right? And in a relationship, that's probably not a good thing. So even though she knows, she's just like, all right, well, I will play along and see how far he takes this, which is also maybe not the best way to handle that, but is still like, I get it. Like, I get where you're coming from. But yeah, it's strange at the end because I think she does finally realize like what's going on and what he has to deal with and all of that stuff. But it's just like this unspoken understanding that they have, and they're just like, do you want to get back together? I'll get back together with you if you want to get back.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And they don't really have that conversation of like, hey, we have some stuff to work out. I was keeping things, but you were also not being understanding X, Y, and Z. So I don't know. I'm not sold on her yet.
I didn't like her at all. he's a superhero and like he has enemies, he's gonna make enemies, and like it's kind of like a big deal, his identity. And I think she should understand that. Like, you know, that's not something I would say. They've been dating for like what, maybe, I don't know how long the timeline is, but it doesn't seem that long. Yeah. I wouldn't say it. I wouldn't tell her either. Like, I don't know if I really would really want to be with this person yet to even put them through that. But yeah, not a fan of her. I want him to be with Eve. That's who I want him to be.
That too, because I thought they were going to be a thing. Because I think, I remember Eve saying that she did like him or something to somebody. No? Did that not happen?
No. She did go to his house,
I don't remember if she says it, but she does kind of start to be interested and then is like, I'm going to go fly over there. And she's like creeping in the window there.
Yeah. And that's when she sees him with what's her name?
Amber.
Again? I forget her name. Amber. Yeah. And then she gets over it, I guess.
I'll be right back. You guys.
That's fine.
Go for it. Yeah. So they are doing who knows what. With all of that stuff, but I like that in the midst of all of these like violent fights and gory scenes and situations and stuff like that, you do have these like good character moments, these good talks between characters. Like I like the few times that Mark and Eve get to like talk and just connect like as friends, or the times that we see Mark talk with his mom. His mom is a great character.
She is.
Yeah. She's not super big in the comics. She's more so just kind of there. So she has a lot more to do here in the show. Did you have a favorite moment or something with Mark's mom?
Oh yeah, definitely. The part where she finds out that Omni-Man killed all the Guardians, and then she confronts him about it, and then he doesn't say why, so she throws the wine bottle at him and says "fuck you, Nolan," and then she goes to bed. She's not scared of him, and that's when I was like, okay, she knows that he killed these people.
I mean, it's so like what would you do?
Yeah,
in that situation, right? Like, there's nowhere you can go. There's nothing you can like. You can't punch him. Like that's not gonna do anything, right?
I figure she'd be afraid to sleep with him in the house. So, but she just threw the wine bottle at him, said "fuck you, Nolan," and then went to bed, not worrying at all that he could kill her easily.
Are we talking about Nolan and Debbie?
Yeah. Our favorite moment with Debbie.
There's nothing she can do. Like what do you do in a situation like that when you're just like, you're a murderer and I know you are, and he's just like, not really, and she's like, fuck you, yes you are. I know it.
Did you notice that when Mark got his abilities, he started treating her like really, really rough. Like he'll like talk back or raise his voice towards her. And I was like, wait a minute. I was like, wait. And then I'm thinking, well, we'll get to that point in the episodes, but that I found out why.
Go for it.
When how he says that, I think of your mother as a pet.
Yeah.
And then like, if she says something to him, I guess he's thinking about that, you know, like you're raising your voice at me. Like you're raising your voice at me, and I'm like, this makes sense now to me. He put his mindset in that, hey, my kid has powers. We're gonna destroy this world, and you don't mean nothing to me anymore. So I can just like be mean to you and like look at you as a pet now, not my wife.
Crazy.
I thought about that. Yeah.
Crazy stuff indeed. Yeah, I liked her character a lot. I did like the moments when she is mentioning to Nolan like, hey, I'm the one that taught you to save people and stuff like that. Like that is she has that moment, and then the moment when Mark is kind of bad mouthing her, and she can't physically move him, she can't hurt him or do stuff like that, and she just like stands her ground and is like, does that make you feel big? Like,
yeah,
what the hell is wrong with you?
I think the line was, go to bed, and he's like, make me. I was like, oh my gosh, he gets powers, and now he talks back to his mom. I was like, jeez.
What a dick.
Like, the poor mom. He's like, make me. I was like, what the heck? Another thing I noticed is the first episode, the first conversation that you ever hear is about these two security guards, and the guy's talking about a training event he has to go to for superhuman invasion, and then I thought about that when the last episode, what's it called, Venturemites? Did I say it right?
The Viltrumites.
The Viltrumites are going to come to Earth because of what happened, like because Nolan didn't finish the job. So I'm thinking, like, did I mention that because of the ending of that's happening in this show right here? And then another one was the guy was talking about to the other dude, the other security guard, about his son or his stepson, how they were like at battle and finally they have like made up and like they're getting along and they're taking a 2-week vacation to Europe. And I'm thinking like how they had like how he like, I don't know, has a relationship with his son. And now the last episode, you see this man freaking punching his son in the face constantly. I thought that was like really cool how they had like those kind of two things related to the last episode.
Did you notice that was the when they were on that vacation, it was the trash bag that Mark threw when he got his powers? That's the thing that hit them.
Oh no, I didn't notice that. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
He threw it all the way to Europe.
Okay. Wow. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I thought that was like cool how they connected those things.
They do stuff like that. But yeah, this is a world, where aliens exist. Like, they've been invaded before. Like, they know, like, hey, superheroes are a thing. So yeah, just to have like, I mean, nowadays we have like training and stuff for mass shootings in school. So if invasions were another thing, they'd be like, oh yeah, it's my weekend for the invasion training. You know, that's just like normal conversation.
No, he's like, wait, you're just gonna skip it? And he's like, yeah, I'm going to Europe for 2 weeks. He's like, what? I'm like, wait, this conversation is just like, it's like nothing to them.
This is a show I think that could be rewatched, so you could connect those kinds of things. Because I didn't know about the trash can, the trash bag thing, the stuff like that, like, and then the things that you're pointing out, Nikki. I should go back and rewatch it.
Yeah, because the show does a really good job of kind of seeding story stuff that will happen down the road and will affect the story later on. Because like we get the whole thing about the like two clone brothers.
Oh God,
like,
those guys!
They have their own storyline. I love them. They're great.
Yeah, I really like those guys.
I just say gosh because they're like, no, I'm the clone. No, I'm the. It's like I love it that part, but it's so funny. It's like I'm like, here we go again with the
Yeah, but they're good. There was that whole like Egyptian thing going on. There's the whole plot about the like the Luke Cage style character who has the like rocks that form on him, and he's a criminal because he just needs to provide for his family.
That intro was badass of him when he's like walking into that warehouse, and then he's like, "This send a message," and the guy's like. The guy he's holding is like, he just kills. And he's like, that was for you. And he looks like this little kid, the little guy.
Looks behind him,
I was like, oh my God, this is cool. Yeah.
Badass. Yeah, but he ends up like kind of manipulating his way into this like criminal empire that is not his at first, but he ends up stealing it. And it's like, okay, that has to be something down the road. Like, you don't just set up that character to have his story stop right there.
Can we elaborate on that episode specifically?
Yeah, sure. Go for it.
So that episode with the Luke Cage guy and
he's voiced by Mahershala Ali by the way.
Yep.
Man,
he played
stellar voice cast
in Luke Cage. Yeah.
Stellar voice cast. My God. And he's also going to be Blade, right? So there you go. Look at that.
Yeah.
So that specific episode, Mark didn't have to do any, like, he didn't have to take any part in that. But that was like its own storyline, crazy storyline. And I did not think as well. I figured, this is a kingpin. He's going to, he's invincible. He's going to get rid of them and help this guy get to the top, whatever. But this guy brought in the lion specifically. I'm thinking about that lion. I forget his name.
Battle Beast or whatever his name is.
Battle Lion? Is it Battle Lion? I don't know.
I don't know.
But anyway, that fight was the second fight that my jaw dropped because
you're like, oh
yeah, because I thought, Mark got his ass handed to him in the beginning with the aliens and stuff. Yeah. But he was just starting out. So I figure, now he's gonna be a little bit better, he's fought better. This guy nearly killed him. And it's funny that he's, calling himself invincible, but every fight that he's getting into,
he keeps getting the shit knocked out of him.
He's nearly dying every time. And that was just like where he's just beating him, and like, it's so crazy that battle line. Yeah.
You have stupid Amber. Where's Mark? He should be here. I'm like, shut up, Amber. He's not. He may be dying right now. Like,
he's
stop it.
And then we see the lion again at the end because I did want to see him again because that guy seemed like strong enough to probably fight Omni-Man too. So that I want to see where that guy goes.
Also, Monster Girl. Like the whole her face got effed up.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. That I was like. By the way. The whole relationship between Monster Girl and I'm gonna still call them Robot. I forgot their name. I did not see that coming. The whole relationship developing. I was like, where is this coming from? Like Robot doing that whole thing just for her. I was like, what? I was like, did I miss an episode? I was so confused.
From what I remember, that doesn't happen until a little bit later in the comics.
Okay.
So the fact that it's happening in season 1 is like, oh, okay. They are doing this then, huh? Yeah. Interesting.
I was pretty shocked about that.
That's another one of those moments where it's like, what's happening here is really strange. We should probably talk about that, but there's also some other things happening over here. Maybe let's deal with those first, and then we'll get back to this. Because he cloned what's his name, Rex Splode, because he knew without his consent. That's strange. Okay, what's going on here?
I was watching the scenes. I was like, can we go back to Mark? I don't even know what's going on here. That's a lot to take in. I was like, he's copying himself for this guy, and it's like he's in a vessel. I was like, what the heck? It's like a whole nother show for me sometimes.
But it's funny that you say that too, Kyle. There's this weird thing going on, but there's something else here. That we thought of that as the audience, but also Rex himself thought that way. I know this is happening, but why did you clone me? Why are you doing this? It's the way he's reacting to is so normal. But speaking of Monster Girl too, I wanted to. I feel like we're all over the place, but it's just there's so many things going on in the show. Monster Girl,
the middle section of the show is the thing where it's like, okay, we have this thing over here,
Monster
we got this
of the
thing
week,
over there. There's the stuff on Mars there, so it's
we could we'll all culminate to the end. But Monster Girl, I like the way they do powers in the show too, because the way Monster Girl's powers works is every time she turns into a monster, she gets younger. So she has to
Benjamin Button.
Yeah, she has to balance the amount of times or what she does with that power, which is really cool. I don't think anybody else has a detriment like that, but it's interesting to see that kind of stuff being thought of as a superpower, which is cool.
Yeah,
there's she legit. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say she legit goes back. Makes herself younger just to beat up what's that guy's name? Rex.
Oh yeah,
and she's like, you made me change for this. I was like, oh my gosh. I thought that was funny. She actually has to make sure she doesn't do it so many times because then she's gonna get smaller and smaller.
There are some interesting things with the characters and stuff. I know one thing I don't think they explicitly mentioned, but you did see them, is that Duplicate has a brother. And what's his name? It's another thing. It's I believe his name is Multipaul. It's like Kate and Paul, and they have the same powers. But the knight that again, I don't remember their names. The clones, the two
I don't remember
brothers.
their names either. No.
The night that they break out of jail, the camera pans past him. They're in the jail cell next to him, and like
that's so cool.
all of that one cell that was filled with them, like that's him. So there is like the show does a wonderful job of just being like, we have an entire universe of things that is happening. There's histories, there's all sorts of stuff, and yeah, I think especially by the end of this show, you really realize that like this is not going to be a small story. Like this is going to be a big, giant, sprawling story. And yeah, I love the way that they just start to be like, oh, and there's this thing back there. And one over there too.
It's so. Like I'm looking everywhere. Like I gotta get it all in, you know. One thing I keep thinking about, I thought about a couple times when Nolan goes to Debbie and says, "Hey, I think it might have been best if Mark never got his powers." But I'm thinking like, is because he knows that he has to. Is he okay with just killing his family? Because like to him, you know, they're not really anything to him because he's like, what's another 17 years? So I'm thinking if you're thinking about that, or he just doesn't want his son. I don't know. I just keep thinking about that line. He's like, oh, I think it would be best if Mark never got his powers.
So I'm not sure how you guys feel. The whole thing with Nolan, right, is that he is a Viltrumite. And they are these, like Kryptonian like people. They have like, they're a warrior race. They have sent out soldiers to these other planets to infiltrate them and basically weaken them and conquer them. So him killing the Guardians of the Globe is what he is supposed to do. That is his mission there. But I don't know. I think this is one of the things I also don't know if the show has really done a great job of yet, is to explain what Nolan is actually thinking through most of this stuff. Like we see him at the end where he's like, she's a pet. Like you'll live generations past these people. Like you see him in like full on villain mode. But yeah, there are these lines where it maybe hints at like, now that he has his powers, now I have to do this. Like
exactly.
It seems like there could be some struggle there, but the show never really explores it. And so by the end of the show, it's just like, all right, well, light switch on. Like, let's go be a bad guy. It's just like, I mean, I think that does help play up the shock of just like, oh my God, like he just... It's night and day. Like he just one day he's like, all right, fuck them all. Here we go.
Yeah. Every time someone was fighting him, they're like, he's being taken over. Like someone's like doing this to him. Like even the Globe people said that. Like they're like, it's either us or him. They're like, well, I choose us because they didn't think that he was being controlled by someone else. And then his own son, when they were fighting, he said the same thing. Like someone's controlling you, but it was just him. So that was like the night and day.
You get that first hint when Nolan goes in the portal to destroy the planet that all those one aliens were on, and he just wipes them the fuck out.
The entire planet. Yeah, he destroys the whole planet.
Yeah.
There's one thing that I reflect on with that final episode where Nolan, I guess, turns on the switch and becomes bad. I feel like because of what he ended up doing, which was just leaving. Because while he's beating on Mark, you see that he has flashbacks and stuff, and he decides to leave. I feel like the stuff, now that I'm thinking about it, the stuff that he was saying, like saying that what's her name again? His wife, Debbie, saying that she's a pet, and then what's another 17 years to Mark? Like I'll just make another kid. Like saying stuff like that. I feel like he was trying to make him hate him. Just so it could be easier for him to do what he's doing. I don't know if that's where that was going, or because the thing is, he does flip a switch and he starts saying all this horrible stuff that there was hints of, but never really explicitly he was like that. So I don't know if he was trying to do that so it could be easier for him to kill everybody, or so that everyone can hate him and then he'll just retaliate. You know what I mean?
So, yeah, like I don't know if I'd say he was trying to make him hate him.
Mm-hmm.
I think he wants him on his side. But I think since he grew up on Viltrum, right? Like he's been so indoctrinated in that, whereas Mark grew up as an Earthling. So what is what is logical to Nolan isn't necessarily the same thing. And he's like, I think he has trouble understanding. He's just like, why? Like, you have the same blood as me. Like you like. I don't understand why you think this way or why you feel this way. Like, now that you have these powers, you have to know that, like, you will live longer than them. Like, they will, like, you'll fall in love and they will die without you. And like there's no other way around that. Like, it sucks, but that's life for you and me. Like, you need to know that right now. And Mark is just sitting there like, that's not what this is about. Like there is this like miscommunication, like misunderstanding that's happening there. But I still think when Nolan flies off, it's partly he's so mad of just like, why the fuck don't you understand? And part like, stay right there. I'll show you. Just you wait. Right. So I don't know.
Also, the way Nolan was raised, if you remember, they talk about him. The Viltrum people like killed all the weaklings, and you see piles of bodies, and like I think you just see someone like just punch someone in the face, and then like they're dead. And that was before Nolan was even born. And then Nolan said he was born afterwards, and that they picked they picked the strongest people to go out to the world because they want to be the only empire in the globe or in the whole universe. So I think he's so used to that hard love. I guess that's what he would call it, and how how strict they are with their own race. And that's why I think he wasn't trying to be like making Mark hate him. I mean, hate him. I think that's just how he is. I think he's just cold because that's how what he's used to. And he even said like, if I have to stay on this planet for about years, and I forgot the exact line, but basically it was about, I'd rather I rather kill myself or something than stay on this planet even like longer, because he hated Earth that bad. Like, he didn't want to be there any longer. Like, I think that's his true side. I just think he's a bad guy. He's just used to that. Like, he thinks his race is the ultimate race, and that everyone else needs to like be gone. So I don't know. I just think about
Nazis.
that. Yeah, I just think about the cutscene. He's like bodies of piles of people in his like home like planet, and like everyone's like has blood on them, and like all wearing white. I was like, this is, first of all, that's the worst outfit to wear when you're trying to like kill people. Like, the blood everywhere with white. That's the first thought I had. Then like the piles, I was like, crazy. I don't know.
So, all right. So that reminds me, something else I didn't like about this show is how the first like 5 or so, they kept doing that whole thing where he's like, "Hi, my name is," and then like he's about to say Invincible, and it does the thing. I hated that. I thought it was so bad. But
it was neat.
The thing that I thought was, I don't mind it once. It's like, oh, okay, that's clever. But then like I get it. But the thing that I loved about the intro is that as the show goes on, there's these blood splatters that like just build up and build up, and the logo starts out as yellow, and by the end it's just like completely red, like blood red, and it's just like, this is
that's
foreboding
really cool.
and dark and gross, and I love it.
I thought it
made me
no, go ahead.
It made me think of some guy had a red pail of like fake blood on the side, and he's like, all right, and then he just goes like this, and this throws all over the invisible letters. That's what I keep thinking about when I saw that.
That leads into what I was actually gonna say. It was funny because on Twitter when they posted about the season 2, that they're gonna start working on season 2, they had the blood splattered logo with the Guardians of the Globe in front of the logo, like with a ladder, like cleaning off the paint. the blood. I mean,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
But it's also cool because they did the invincible thing with other people. Whenever someone else would say it, or they're about to say it, it would go to the title screen, which is cool. I thought it was neat.
I didn't hate it because I was like, all right, when's it gonna happen? I'm like, it's gonna be now. He's gonna do it, and then sometimes it didn't.
The first time it happened, I feel like it led into it properly. But then in some episodes, it's like, it just cuts them off. And it was like, it's kind of weird. Like, I was like, is that what's supposed to happen there? Like, I don't know.
It's a little bit jarring.
Yeah.
Also, the credits. The first one, I thought that's how the show's gonna be. The credits like will hit right when he's fighting a monster. I'm like, okay, the show's over. I'm like, this was like what everyone was talking about. The next thing I know, that scene happens. I'm like, oh, it's not, the episode's not even finished yet. I thought that's kind of cool how they cut, like, they put credits and then another scene. But then I realized that not all episodes are gonna be like that. I was like, damn it.
So we've already kind of gotten into the like end fight here, the big twist at the end where Mark has to confront his father. And holy shit, Stephen Yeun.
Oh yeah,
nails this performance.
Oh my god, yes.
Yeah, like he's part confused and scared and just like he doesn't understand it, and like I don't know what he's doing with that character, but he nails it. He
100%.
He seems like a young teenager who just doesn't understand the world but thinks he does, and yeah. Kudos to him. This voice cast is incredible.
Oh my god, it's Sandra Oh, isn't it? Oh, I love her. She's a great actress.
She's the mom, right?
She plays Debbie.
Yeah,
she plays Debbie. I was like, oh, I love it. Because I legit, I like, people sound so familiar. So the first episode, I went in and like looked at everybody. I'm like, oh, that person plays that. I had to know.
Yeah, for sure.
But I told Gino this before. I said that Stephen Yeun. I don't know if you watched. Are you still watching Walking Dead or anything? Like, I'm pretty sure
I
it's
haven't
in the comics.
Seen the most like recent season, but I'm mostly
okay.
Spoilers,
so you know when they first
spoilers for the Walking Dead.
Yeah. Okay, but it's been like years. It's no longer a spoiler. So like, you should already watch it if you're a fan. But you know when Glenn meets Negan and you know he's kaput.
Yeah.
Okay. The whole time watching him getting punched by his dad, Nolan, I'm thinking of Glenn getting smashed by by Negan's bat. I forgot the name of the bat.
Lucille.
It was Lucille. And I was like, oh my god, he can never keep his face in a show. Like, he can never like not get beat up. And I just kept thinking of it like over and over again.
Yeah.
And then he says like
face.
And then he goes like, what will you have? He's like, you, dad. And you see his lips all messed up and everything. It was hard. I kept thinking of that the whole time.
That line specifically.
Heartbreaking, dude.
Yeah. Where he's like, what will you have in 500 years? And he's like, you, dad? And that's like, he still like thinks of him as his dad and he's killing him.
Yeah. And that was after the fact he said, what's another 17 years?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And his dad already said like, and what's another 17 years? And like, your mom doesn't mean like he said all that prior and he still thinks of that. That he's going to still like, I have you, dad. Like, Mark is too nice.
He's too nice.
Like that is the thing. Like, despite all of the violence, there is this like underpinning of like, hey, it'll work out though. Like, things will be okay. And we still know like the worst is yet to come. But there is this like hope of like, all right, so we have this impending doom that is coming here. We need to prepare. But I think we can do it. Like I think we like, and I think that goes back to like all of these side stories. Like, I'm not sure exactly how they all work out, but you just know that it's some puzzle. It's some Rubik's cube of like, oh, because that guy did this thing that opens up this opportunity to meet this character, and we can team up with him to go do this thing, and it's just like, this is gonna be wild. So,
yeah,
good stuff indeed.
I would like to know more about I forgot the guy. I forget the name. The one that kind of looks like Hellboy. He's like the detective, and like every time he's around.
Darkblood.
Yeah, I would like to know more about his character, because I feel like he was there, he found out, he knew what happened, and then like, you know, they just like they took him away, but then his shadow lingered. But what happened with the shadow? Like, did I miss a scene or something? Like, I don't know exactly. Like, his story was still not fully told, I feel.
So he got sent to hell by Cecil. Despite Cecil knowing that he was right, he was like, "Look, I have to do this to keep up appearances."
I don't like that guy.
I like Cecil actually.
No, he's not trustworthy. He's not trustworthy at all. I feel like he finds his crew. I think his crew. He looks at his crewmates as just whatever. Like, hey, you're gonna die, but I mean, if you could hold back Nolan, but here you're gonna die anyways. But here you go. Like he's like, sir. He's like, bring out the airships. He's like, but that's not gonna do anything. We'll hold him back more. I'm like, what's the point?
Give us like 10 more seconds.
Yeah. I'm like, what's the point of killing those people for that little bit of time? I was like, what? I didn't like him.
Yeah, I think we will find out more about Damien Darkblood as we find out more about Hazel and just what is happening with all of that. Because Cecil is on top of things. He's the Nick Fury character. He is the one that I think will often be painted as the bad guy, but he puts himself there by choice so that he like good things can happen in the end there, or at least as far as I can tell.
Yeah, he seems to be a product of his environment, I would say, where he does have to be harsh like that, because if he's dealing with Omni-Man, which is, he knows he's not gonna kill him, he knows he's not gonna be able to, but he has these small little tricks up his sleeves that you see in the end that he starts pulling out and pulling out and pulling out. And I still don't think those all of them, because he's always going to have something else up his sleeve, which seems like to me. But I think like deep down, or not deep down, but like, deep down, he is good, because he does, although he's harsh, he knows what he has to do to get things done. Like in the end, once he helps Debbie and Mark, sort of, I guess, get back some sense of normalcy, even though that's not possible at all. But he does all of that stuff for them. And her reaction to it is understandable.
Oh my gosh.
But then her reaction after her reaction is also understandable, where she's like, sorry, I shouldn't have reacted that way. Thanks for helping. Because he is ultimately just trying to help. And he knows what everyone's going through, and I assume he's been through a bunch of stuff. Like, he has that scar on his face. I don't know for what. But I think there's definitely more to Cecil that we don't know yet, and I'm interested in finding that out.
Him and the whole global defense thing that they got going on there. What did you guys think of the scene? So we get the big fight with Mark and his dad, and it's a huge fight. We can go on about that still, and I'm sure we'll circle back. But after that, they take a good 15 minutes to just, okay, let's take a deep breath here and regroup. And we see this scene where he takes Mark into this room that is just pitch white. It looks like there's nothing in this room. And then he's like, all right, lights. And then they're actually in the middle of some big lab with people walking by. He has stuff up his sleeve for sure, and he is working on stuff. But what did you guys think of that when you guys got to see? Because we really only saw him, and then we saw him make a few tough decisions, and that was it. He was in the hospital there most of the time. But then there's this reveal. He's like, no, I'm working on shit. What did you guys think of that?
I thought it was a teaser for next season. I think wasn't some of the past where Guardians of the Globe were in there, right? The ones that got murdered by Nolan. I think we got some of them in there.
We saw Immortal.
Yeah, he was in there. But I think just as a glimpse of, hey, this is gonna come out next season, so get ready. Cecil may have lost the fight today, but he's not done with the battle. It's going to continue. He's I'm not out, guys. I'm still in, basically.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. That moment to me was absolutely oh shit, that's right. This guy has tricks up his tricks. Like there's so much that we don't know about this character yet, and I cannot wait
so
to see how
sus.
he's.
Yeah.
He is. He is. I will absolutely give you that. But for some reason, I really like characters who can fill that role and just be this like, I'm gonna take a step back and just manipulate everything, and can just like pull that string here. You're gonna meet that guy because I'm gonna send him over there, and and he just like he makes it work.
Yeah.
I'm just like, that's so neat. I wish I could do that.
I think I know why I'm so against him, because that one scene traumatized me when he set the airships in, knowing that they weren't going to do anything, and then it made Mark go save a guy, spend his time trying to save this guy. The guy gets excited, like, hey, you saved my life. Nolan comes up right behind him.
I knew that was going to happen.
And then grab his head and goes, and I'm like, oh my God. I was like, huh. Like, I didn't, like, you see his no head and his, like, on Mark, the blood there. I think that's like the scene. I'm like, F Cecil, if he didn't send that ship in, those guys would have been alive. And I don't know. I think that's what bugs me. But I'm not saying I hate him. He's just sus of that. I didn't like that scene. I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. We should go into the fight, but I want to mention just one thing about Cecil is that them and the Global Defense Agency, they definitely, from seeing what they do, they know what they're doing. Like but they're sort of powerless against Omni-Man, but they know what they're doing, because they've dealt with this. Because the part where I forget Cecil's right-hand man. Oh, his name. I forgot his name. The guy with the glasses and the brown hair or whatever.
Yeah.
But he,
I know you're.
When Omni-Man came to the house, he knew what he was going to do already. He was going to die. He was going to kill himself there. And that's why he's like, it was a pleasure working with you, sir, or whatever. And then Cecil doesn't even react. He says, pleasure working with you too. And that, like,
Donald is his name.
Yeah.
Donald, yes. I loved Donald.
Yeah, he was always around,
he didn't say much, but he was perfect.
Yeah. He was like,
supposedly in the comics he stays around a little bit longer.
But he seemed more like you know how you mentioned Cecil's Nick Fury, he seemed more like Coulson. In that way. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
But him knowing that he was gonna die there and what he had to do, again, just makes them a product of their environment. They know what they're doing, and it's gonna be cool to see what that. I wasn't surprised when that room popped up. I was like, yeah, I figured this is what they have going on,
Absolutely.
But I want to go into the fight now. That big fight.
Let's do it.
I feel like we should
take it away, Gino.
We should end it on that. So there was one that part that Nikki mentioned where Nolan just crushes the guy's head, and his head blows up on Mark's face. Like, you see the blood splatter on his face, and then like it's funny because it's animated obviously, but like the way he like reacts in that split second where he's like absolutely shocked. He doesn't say anything. And then I forget what he does say, but the way that blood just is so prominent in that entire, right after that, when, Nolan, was it that when he said, oh, you're grossed out, or what is it? Like you don't like seeing people die or something? Like I forgot what he said. He said something like that's when he said it to him, and then he throws him through the building to the, and then it's like,
I think it was Chicago.
Yeah. And then it just reminded me of, like, I keep going back to the Avengers because it's just stuff that's similar where you know how they destroyed that big town and then there was consequences for it, you never think of that when they're doing all these battles. And then Mark saw firsthand the consequences of one punch that Omni-Man did and threw him through a building, through the street. Yeah, go ahead.
Speaking of One Punch, there is a One Punch Man Easter egg.
Oh yeah.
When they are auditioning for the new Guardians of the Globe, in the background, there's a character that looks like him.
Really? Oh, I didn't notice that. That's funny.
Yeah.
That's cool. But yeah, so he throws him through that, and he kills like what, hundreds or thousands maybe of people just from falling through there. And then he tries to save just one pair of people, a mom and a daughter, and then he can't. And
that scene is awful because the building is falling, there is still inside, he's trying to save them, they fall out, he grabs them, but the building ends up falling on them, and you see him like still holding on to her arm,
and the
camera changes, and that's all it is. It's all her it's just her arm, like she's not there. And it's just like, fuck, man, like this is so awful. And he's just, his world is completely shattering, like right in front of him, and he just like, this I think goes back to when those aliens were invading, and he just didn't really know what to do. He's trying to do this thing or fight them there or save one, and it's just nothing is working out. And it's wild stuff.
And the line that sticks with me is when Nolan goes, "What is 50 years? What's the difference between now and 50 years?" And then Mark goes, "He would have a life." Like, I was like, damn. Like, damn. Like, what's the difference between now and 50 years? Like, that hit me. I was like, that like shows you like his mentality of legit humans. And I'm like, now I'm like not surprised. He calls his wife a pet and says, "Wait, what's another 17 years, Mark? I'll have another kid. Like, I don't need you," kind of thing. Yeah. Like, that like hit me. And then he says that after, when Mark was mad that Nolan Omni-Man squished the guy's head right in front of him, and that's when he says like, what's the difference between now and 50 years? And I was like, oh, that's my crazy. Gosh. Like, I was like, the lines that they deliver in this cartoon are so like shocking. I was like, and I think I legit grabbed air. Like, I was like, oh, so I was like, oh my, I was doing something. I was like, oh, but it wasn't for that. I think it was the next scene that happens after the building.
Yeah. The subway scene.
After the building, you think that's where it's going to end. Like, okay, he showed them everything. Like, this is what can happen. But then I don't know if you guys want to describe the subway. I described the building.
So let me ask you guys this: what did you think was going to happen? Like when they went down in the subway, and he's like lifting him up and holding him out as the train is coming. Like, what was going on in your mind there, Gino? You're laughing.
I was like, no. I was like, no way he's gonna do it. And also Peter Parker moments when Tobey Maguire. When Tobey Maguire is on the train like this. I thought about that. I
figured that was gonna happen, but not like that.
There was so much blood. Like, it was horrifying.
It's just
So I mean, if you've made it this far and you still haven't seen it, what happens is Omni-Man stands there on the tracks with Mark, like by the skull, just standing there holding him as this train is coming. And I've seen some people be like, well, that's not gonna like hurt Mark. Like, what is he doing? Like, this doesn't make sense. And then like it keeps coming, and you're like, oh shit, I know what's happening.
He doesn't want to hurt Mark.
They stand still, and that train just splits as Mark is being pushed through this, and people are getting killed and destroyed and chopped on accident. Like, as Mark is just like, oh god, no, please stop. And like, that I think is one of the most over the top scenes of just like, holy shit, what is going on right now?
He was.
I was eating too, and I was like, I didn't eat that rest of the whole thing. I was like, this is the worst episode to start eating my lunch right now. I was just like, all right, I'm done until after the show.
Right.
He was so helpless there. And I thought, this fight was going to end with, Mark eventually winning against Omni-Man. But that moment was when I thought, oh, he's not, something else has to happen here because he's not going to be able to beat him. Like he's not gonna beat him. He can't. So and then it just ended differently than what I thought. I thought this was gonna be the end for Omni-Man somehow, but it ended up not being that. But yeah,
I didn't think he was gonna die. I didn't think Omni-Man was gonna go away because from like all I've seen, he's too powerful. He's like way too like he like took out the whole that alien race. Like he went to like it was like a lunch break. He went to another planet, killed all those aliens, and like it was like nothing. And the difference is this guy's like Superman, but there's no kryptonite for him. It's just full on go.
Yeah.
But that was intense.
Wild stuff. What? Let me ask you guys this. I know there's a lot of gruesome deaths in here. Is there one that stood out to you as the most like gruesome or shocking, or one that you just can't get out of your mind?
The one with the guy with his head, because it made me. I forgot. I forgot what the name of the movie was, but it's an army movie. You might guys know. It made me think of this right when I was watching it. They're in an army and the soldier was in a battle and he got shot in the head, but he was wearing a helmet and he took his helmet off. He's like, "I'm still alive." And next thing you know, he gets another bullet in his head and he died.
Ooh.
I forgot what movie it was. It's a classic movie. I just can't remember the name of it.
Saving Private Ryan. I think
it was Saving Private. I think it was that. Yeah, I think it was Saving Private Ryan, because I remember watching that and I was like just seeing the hope, and then like you know he died. So that reminded me when he's like, "Oh my gosh, you saved me," and then next thing you know, I was like, yeah, it made me think of that movie.
There's another Saving Private Ryan scene similar here where he kills everybody in Chicago and he's seeing just the destruction. And it's like silent for him and all that stuff. That's the same thing that happened in that movie with Tom Hanks. But
shock of it all.
Yeah.
I
think mine. I was gonna say that that guy being killed like that, but I feel like I guess the second time that Nolan kills Immortal, where they're fighting her and he just. Immortal is fighting him like he really is like, but it's funny how I don't like. It seems like he's going to toe to toe with them, but then Omni-Man just lands one punch, and that's it. He punches through him and splits him in half right in front of Mark and in front of everyone in the world. Pretty much everyone sees that. So I feel like that's that moment where, you know, everybody lost some sort of, I guess, hope for their Superman that they had, and then you know, and Mark just seeing his dad kill, you know, a Guardian of the Globe right there. They
did add the visual of that death for the next scene, the next episode, because the first thing you see is blood raining down the grass. And I was like, we're still here, aren't we? I was like, Jesus, he hasn't even landed from being sliced.
Crazy. Yeah.
God. I think the one that stands out to me is actually a smaller one. There's a scene, I think it's in the final episode, if I'm not mistaken, but it's the Earth Defense, whoever they are, the global defense. They are in Mark's home trying to I think you know which one. Trying to get Omni-Man, and all he does to one of them is just push him, and the dude hits the counter and splits in half. Like the top half of his body just keeps going, and it's just like that is not good. That is
every time he goes out.
Stitches won't help with that one.
The crazy part is that they're invisible, so it's like you see him notice something, and then he does that or whatever and pushes them, and then
wavelength of light. Right,
and
he's just like,
so
bam,
crazy, dude. It's so crazy.
Disgusting.
Reminds me of that scene in The Boys, where obviously spoilers for The Boys too as well, I guess. Let's just do that.
It's been out for a while.
Where Homelander kills everyone in the cabin. Those soldiers in the cabin.
Yes.
And he comes out fully bloody. Have you seen The Boys, right, Kyle? Yeah.
I have not actually.
Oh shit. Okay. So
it's not a major
really a
scene.
spoiler.
You're fine.
He kills people.
No, it's not really a major scene. You can just know his attitude, his personality is that he murders.
Yeah. So just that's similar to a scene like that. Just that one's live action, I guess.
Yeah.
I forgot about the people that died in the house.
I'm sure
I
something similar like that happens in the comics too. Because we mentioned the comics at the start. I think Invincible started before the boys did. I think that's what I saw. But yeah, they both are known as being like hyper violent comics about superheroes and stuff like that. So
crazy.
And I never really watched cartoons that were so violent. So the first time I saw like the blood, like the scene for the first episode, I made me think of Kill Bill when they're like the cartoon version, that, like when they show how, I forgot Lucy Liu's character, how her parents got murdered and stuff. So it made me think of that because like they'll cut like the arm, like blood gushes out everywhere. I was like, this is like the only other cartoon I actually seen that has so much blood in it. Because like I don't know, I'm trying to get into anime, but so.
That's a thing that I think was also really neat about this comic is that Marvel and DC are kind of restricted by themselves. Like they have so much history, and people want to read the classic versions of those characters of like, oh, it's going to be Superman and Lois Lane forever. And nothing changes, and but they still have to make things feel new and different. And if they do, then it's like, okay, now we're gonna go back to Superman and Lois Lane forever, you know. And to have this book be on an independent publisher like that, they can do whatever they want. They can kill people off, and they'll stay dead. That you thought was gonna be major important characters. They can do all sorts of stuff, and yeah, it's neat to see a story like that where it's like this is what we've wanted. This is great stuff, but you can't really exactly get that in Marvel and DC as much. But
yeah,
also I think that's Robert Kirkman's style. Like because he's like the Walking Dead. People would die off the bat. You're like, I thought that was the main character. Like you know, like you can't get attached. And then I'm like, wait. And I looked who like wrote Invincible, and I saw his name. I was like, oh, okay, I can't get attached.
To nobody.
But I'm But I'm already attached to some people, like Adam Eve. I like her, even though we didn't get to see so much about her, but I'm sure we will in the future. But yeah, so can't get attached.
Let me ask you guys this: what are you looking forward to or hoping for in season 2 and 3? They announced that it's gonna get 2 more seasons down the road. It's probably gonna be a while till we get them because they're just starting them now. So what are you guys looking forward to or hoping for down the road?
You go first.
Well, I did want to mention, I don't know if you guys know, Seth Rogen voices the alien at the end too. Just so
Alan?
Oh yeah. I want to see.
I want to see more of him. Obviously, well, I assume we are. Because he's a.
You will.
He's a.
I will say that.
Okay, cool. And I do want to see. They set up so many things at the end of the episode. With the lion guy, the kingpin guy. The clones. I want to see the clones again more, and I want to see them. I know they're like, I don't know if I can really consider them bad guys. They're so funny. They're just like, they do bad things, but I think in the end they probably will end up doing good. So it would be
They seem to me like the kind of characters in Guardians of the Globe, and they're like, but why do we want to stop him from destroying the planet? It's like, because we live on the planet. Like,
yeah, like that. Yeah, no, I really like them, and I just the one thing that I do want to see, obviously, is when Omni-Man comes back. I want to see. I want to see what happens there. Why did he leave? What did he go do? Is he bringing Viltrum? Or, I mean, he technically failed. So are they going to accept him, first of all? Or,
there you go. Good question, yeah.
So what's going to happen there with him? Is he going to come back with them, or is he going to come back against them? You know, we'll see what
Who knows?
We'll see what happens. I'm excited to see all that happening.
Because I think they said Viltrum's going to come, the Seth Rogen character. Said that they're going to come for him because he didn't do his task. So a whole force. And what got me at the end, he's like, so what are you going to do? I'm going to finish high school. I was like, bro, I was like, what? I was like, you can't even fight your dad, which is one of them. And then like a whole army's coming. He's like, I just need to, I'm like, you know what? He just wants to just have something normal, and I get it. So that's probably why he said that.
That's
but I was
what
like,
I mean with the show. Like has this hope to it. It's like, look, like there's a big fight coming down the road, but I have a math test, so I need to go do that first, and then we can like start preparing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Good stuff.
Can't wait.
I think for me, I'm really hoping to see more of Battle Beast. I believe that was his name.
Yes.
Because I don't remember where his character goes, or if I got to see where it did. I want to see more of Cecil, because again, I mentioned I like that style of character of just like what are you thinking now? Like, now that we have a moment to prepare, what is your next step, right? Like, what is the first thing you're like, we need that thing there? I want to know that stuff. Yeah, I want to see, just hit like him come more into his own and start to be like not beaten up after every fight, right?
Oh my gosh, I can't take it anymore. Oh, yeah.
Like he still has some growing up to do and some like learning the ropes. So more of that stuff.
I would hope that they would start off the next season with him already having done that, rather than still continuing to grow up.
Also, done with high school. I want to be done with high school already.
Done with high school.
Yeah, they could do a time jump, right? It's like, okay, it's been 2 years. He still hasn't showed up yet.
But I'm ready. I'm ready now.
Yeah.
Like that.
That's interesting. Something like that. So,
because I'm like, he's not getting schoolwork done. He's getting his ass beat all the time. Stuck, and then after he fights, which he's not at school, he goes like 2 weeks of recovery. So I'm just like, where's the schoolwork gonna get done? You know, it makes me think of the TV shows like when you're little, like on Disney Channel. Like, so when do these people do their homework if they have all these like issues or drama? So it made me think of this, but superhero status. But I just want to see more of Nolan. I hope he's not gone forever. Don't like the dude, but I want to see how he's developing, because you could see there's a breakthrough with him, because he was about to be marked to death, but no, he stopped. I didn't think he was going to stop. I didn't. I thought it was going to be like, he was going to almost put him on the verge of death, and then he would have to recover somehow through Cecil. And the only reason why I still like Cecil, and I don't give up, is just because he went out there on his own with the teleportation bracelet, and like he didn't just say like, hey, you go do this. Like he actually like did it himself. He like does he does the work too. And I was like, all right, that shows some character too. I guess I'm okay with this for now. Still sus, but I still like him a bit.
But and in the end, Nolan is crying when he's leaving. We see that happening. Yeah. So I don't know what's I'm interested. What is he thinking now? What does he want to do?
Good point. Yeah.
You know.
Point indeed.
I was gonna say.
Last thoughts. Do you have something else?
Yeah, he said people are gonna die before he even looked 30. I was like, damn.
Sure. Yeah.
I was like that. I was like, wow.
That is crazy.
He's like, and it makes me think like, did Nolan have another family? Like he have like another kid? Did he have like anything in the past? Like I want to know. Like maybe
when exactly did he get here? I don't know if it mentioned that in his flashbacks exactly. I don't.
It just said that he was appointed Earth, and that's all he had. So we don't know how long he's been on Earth. Maybe he had a family.
That's another thing that brings up how old is Nolan then? Because he doesn't look 30. He's like 50. He looks 50 or something. So
yeah, that, and I think that knowledge that Mark has now of that he won't age as fast as them. Like, how does that affect his relationships? Like, is he gonna be hesitant to continue things with Amber? Is he gonna think about it entirely differently? We don't know.
And that's probably like, oh my god, I just realized that's why he was so against Amber, because he's like, we're gonna kill her anyways, dude. Don't date her. Like that's why he was like, you don't need to be with your girlfriend, because remember he was like kind of anti-Amber girlfriend in the beginning. He's like, it's a waste of time. We're gonna kill her, dude. Like don't go out with her. Don't go out with her.
Indeed.
That makes sense.
Last thing I want to ask you guys is, does this make you want to read the comics? Are you now more interested? Because I think at the start we mentioned The Walking Dead, and I think it was before we actually started recording that I mentioned like the comics and the show follow the same trajectory, but they change certain things in the show. Like there's like 2 or 3 dice rolls that they're just like, let's see if we change this thing. I think this show is doing and going to do that same thing. So I think it's safe to assume you can read the comics and you'll know like the basic plot and basic trajectory, but it's not going to happen the exact same way. So does now that you've seen the show, are you like,
I don't think I want to read the comics beyond. I mean, I would read them. I would want to read them, but for like the sake of the show, I like the surprise of everything, because I don't want to be because I guess I assume the huge battle in the first episode that was in the comics. I assume so. I would have been expecting that to happen at some point. So I want to keep that surprise more shocking, because I was just so shocked that I don't want to have like little like giveaway. So
sure,
but I'm not saying that I wouldn't want to read the comics. It's just for the sake of the show. I would. If the show ended today, and then they're still gonna do the comics, I'll read the comics.
That's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair. Gino, thoughts? Are you the same?
No. I know how to read. I don't like to read. Plain and simple.
Knows how to read.
Sorry. I mean, I don't have a more in-depth answer for that. But yeah, I guess I would echo that. I don't want to ruin it, but also I simply just don't like to read. Don't like to read, so I wouldn't.
There you go. That's fair.
I did.
I'm torn, because this is a series that I really enjoyed what I have read so far, and I really want to get back to. But yeah, I don't know if I want, like, I'm at this point where it's like I also don't really remember it, so I'm enjoying being surprised by the show, and stuff like that. But man, the comics really are just so good, though, and I think at least the first 10 volumes are available to read if you have Comixology Unlimited, which is like a Netflix style thing for comics. But yeah, you guys can go support your local comic book store and get the books, and if they're sold out, you can be like, "Hey, can you order me one?" And they'll help you out there. But yeah, good stuff. This show.
How old are the comics?
What was that?
How old are the comics? Like, when did they come out?
They started, I believe, in 2003.
What? Oh my gosh!
The comics are done, so like the story is complete.
Wow. Okay.
And it's. I mean, you can start with issue number 1, and there really isn't like extra material. You don't need to go read, oh, then there's this spin-off and that one. Like, you can just read that book like straight
I didn't think they were that old.
So
I was thinking like 2010.
I mean, I have Comixology Unlimited now, so that was for Fortnite skins.
If you want, you can go read the first couple volumes and stop like when it's like, okay, Nolan has left. There he is.
I'll check it out. I'll look into it.
I did read some of the Walking Dead ones, because I was like really interested on what what Robert wanted relationship was, and like who he wanted to like kill here and there. And I'm just like, what? Like, I was like, wait, like I was really shocked on the comic ones, and then because I was all I saw was the show. I was like, I had no idea this was like could have been a possibility, you know?
Yeah, I'll check it out, because at least they have pictures. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
There's pictures on it.
Like, oh, I remember this scene. I guess the last thing I will say on that is that it does exactly what the show does, where it lulls you into this, like, it's like, okay, these are kind of generic comics. I don't see why they're all that great. And then the thing happens, the art changes. Like, it's a brand new book once the art style switches, and it's just like, whoa, okay, we are off to the races. Here we go. So good stuff there.
I just realized I did read comics. I read the Archie comics that you buy at the supermarket cashier when I was growing up. I just realized I remember that's the comics that I ever read. They are. I used to read them when I was in middle school. My mom would buy me them, and I just read them in school.
They're making those. They're making a bunch of like more modern looking ones. And then they have like Afterlife with Archie, where it's like, what if the zombie apocalypse happened in Riverdale?
Oh my gosh, no way. Okay, I didn't even know there was that. I stopped reading them once I went to high school, but yeah. Okay.
Yeah, good stuff. Nikki, thank you so much for joining us on.
No, I had a good time.
This. Yeah.
I'm glad everyone watched this show, you know. It's good. So
absolutely. Nikki, where can the people find you on the internet?
Usually Twitch. My Twitch name is BagOutNikki5. But that's my Twitch. And same thing for my Twitter, I believe. So yeah, that's where you can find me. Yeah, I play any type of game, anything. Don't have really a set game. I play whatever.
What are you playing now? What are you playing now, Tom?
I'm currently playing Final Fantasy 14 online.
Gino is so happy.
And I hate it though, because last night I actually had to end my stream really quick because I didn't know I was on for 8 hours. I thought it was 4 hours. And then I went to go look, and I was like, why is the sun coming out? I was like, oh, I was like, chat, I gotta go. I have to go. And I gotta leave, because I was like, if I stay even longer, I will be here for another hour. So I had to go. It's addicting.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's good.
But, good. Yeah. It's a good game.
Gino, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Gino_Viteri, and all my socials are on there as well.
Oh, you are also the co-host of our video game podcast Crossplay.
I sure am.
You guys can go check out just by typing in the Whatnauts in your podcasting app. You guys can find me at Kyle Springer on Twitter. And if you guys want to stay up to date with all of the shows that we do, we are at the Whatnauts on Twitter. So go like, share, subscribe, do all of that stuff. You guys know how it goes. So with that, thank you for checking this out. We hope you enjoyed Invincible as much as we did. And we will be back sometime down the road. I don't know what's going to be next here on the Reactor Core, but we will see you all soon. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.